as always, the usual suspects, Joey Labartnick
Hello? Yeah.
and Justin White. How you doing, sir?
Doing all right. How you guys doing?
Good.
Surviving. I haven't melted yet. No,
Not yet.
none of
You
my
live in
equipment
the
has
desert.
melted yet.
Yeah, you live in the desert, the deep desert, where it gets ugly.
Yeah, yeah, it's ugly, but
Well,
luckily I have AC in my office.
both of you live in the deep desert where it gets
Yeah.
ugly. Yeah.
Yes, indeed we do. Um, so this episode we are going to be discussing the. We're going to discuss the boys, the season finale that hit this week. We are also going to be discussing the season finale of Acolyte. Um, if one of my co-hosts, Richard Durand, shows up, we will discuss Crisis on Infinite Earths. If not, then I will give a little chirp to it real quick. But first off, I want to acknowledge the fact that as accomplished and acknowledged as all of us claim to be in the geek world, um, the fact that none of us are also the fact that we're in California, Southern California, on top of that, that us three are not in San Diego right now enjoying Comic Con.
You pile the shame like sand on our graves. Just like one scoop at a time, like yeah, we're not at Comic Con.
Joey has been practicing that.
Oh, baby.
That was some good physical comedy, man.
I know. That's like the ladder, the elevator trick behind the couch.
Don't you?
Miming. None of us are at Comic Con this week. How's that feel, guys?
I don't know. I miss Comic Con from like 20 years ago, but last few times I went, I wasn't digging it so much. So it's just too many people and too little comics, really.
Yeah, okay. So it's one of those things, AJ, since you call this out, you see all this gray here. Like, we earned this gray. We've been to Comic Con 20 times, 25 times,
20 dozen times.
through the years. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like I have to go every year anymore. It's so much Hollywood, which, don't get me wrong, love, pay my bills, but and it's so much of a hype and everything. I don't really feel like I have to be there every year anymore. If I've got a new project, I'll show up and I'll be guns blazing. But otherwise, I don't know. Like, Comic-Con is like, the metaphor will be broken because I don't have a good metaphor other than, like, Comic-Con is EDC, but EDC, Electric Daisy Carnival, was also like Comic-Con, and like, the youngins have taken over, and they should take over, but I don't feel like I have to be there anymore.
Now, let me ask you guys, both you guys, is it a question of your age or Comic Con's age?
No.
Or let's say, or content at Comic Con. Is it your age or the content at Comic Con?
Do you want to take this first, Justin? You want me to go?
Well,
is it because Justin's older than all of us?
My two main things with it is just, and this might be part of my age, but I just think it's too crowded now. Just way too many people. You can't get into any panels, and then just outside the con, the stuff associated with it, like getting hotel rooms and transportation and getting around San Diego. It's just, it's a minimum $1,000 to stay the weekend down there. And then on top of that, it's like $30 a day to park your car at the hotel you're staying at. And
don't mention parties and the cost of going to those, trying to keep up and playing with that as you go, like, no, it's too much. Not just that. There's too many people, and it's just become something that has separated itself from the things that we're interested in. Like, we make comics. We want to go talk about we make comics. That's not what Comic-Con is about now. Comic-Con spectacle, and it's Hall H, and you know,
The things I'm really interested in are mostly still at WonderCon. You know, there's Artist Alley, and um,
yeah,
and
yeah.
like the smaller publishers. You know, the small press booths and stuff,
I want to talk to
and
people who are making comics. I want to see
yeah,
people making comics. I
yeah,
want,
and I
And I
don't
want to
care.
actually have a conversation with them, and
yeah,
not a yelling match,
Right,
or have to talk over anybody, or
yeah.
feel like I'm preventing them from making any money.
right,
Fortunately, Comic Con has kind of squeezed out the comic culture, the comic creation culture, except at the top. You
right.
know, I don't know. I mean, it's fine. It is cool, but it's not the same. And I don't mean that as an old person. I mean that as more as a creator,
And
as a
there's
as
a
a
lot of mid-level people that don't go to WonderCon that I miss seeing at Comic Con, like David Peterson from Mouse Guard, and Dave Johnson, all those like mid-tier, who I think are top tier, but
of course.
You
in
shouldn't
the business
discriminate
are like
insulting the
mid-tier, but
people you like.
but they don't usually make it to WonderCon, and so that's what I miss
Yeah,
about Comic Con, is like those mid-tier guys, and even like so you'll see some of the older guys that aren't like hugely popular, and so that's
yeah.
that's the stuff about Comic Con I miss. But the other stuff that I do like about Comic Con, like the Artist Alley and the small press booth, it mostly has the same people as that like WonderCon, or even some of the even smaller cons do, for basically.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
it's mostly, and Comic Con's mostly just, I mean, it's just retail stuff. I mean, if you're looking to collect stuff, if you're into figures and pops and whatever, there's plenty of that. But
Or if you
and then
want to
if
see trailers, or you want to see, I don't know.
yeah, but
But
even if you're like a hardcore comic collector, a lot of those guys, they'd make the other cons. If
yeah,
you're really into like digging Silver Age or even Golden Age stuff, they make the rounds. So it's
absolutely.
just it's that mostly that mid-tier stuff I miss about Comic Con, about going to Comic Con.
Comic Con is for people that don't have the opportunity to go to all the other little cons, and
Yeah.
not to mention it's a destination con.
Yeah.
People from all over the world travel everywhere to go there. That's what makes it such a big spectacle.
Well,
Right.
and they make it a spectacle, with the outside stuff, the stuff outside.
Right. And that's great for what it is. It's a huge, big
I love that
spectacle.
stuff.
It's like, it's like the Super Bowl. It's like WrestleMania. It's like,
We used to
it's
call it.
designed to be over the top, and made so that Joe Schmo can go see stuff that they wouldn't normally see or have availability for. And that's great.
It is the mecca of nerddom. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
every aspect of what we do, comes to be together as one. And yet it's almost too much.
Yeah.
It is too much. And the only thing I'm missing this year, I have to admit, I wish that had I known about this, I may have made a modicum of effort to attend. And that's the Shaun of the Dead, the bar. They have the bar down there this year, celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Winchester
Yeah,
of the movie. And I would have loved to have gone to that, had myself a pint. You get the Shaun of the Dead beer cans, the ales that they have, shirts, all that stuff. There's like zombies hanging out. I would have loved to have enjoyed that experience.
sure.
See, but
But
then the
I
stuff
would
like
not
that
have
is
liked to enjoy sitting in line 20 hours in the sun waiting for the ticket to get it.
Right.
I mean,
Like,
going to sit in line waiting to go into it
yeah.
and not even gone into con yet.
How many people aren't going to get into that because
Right.
they just didn't get in line early enough, and they're just cooking in the sun. Like,
Right.
too many
Back
people.
in the old days when Wednesdays was professionals only, and we would go down there and it would just be us at the con. That was a great time because then we could go to all those things before everybody else does.
right.
We could walk around the floor and enjoy the floor before massive crowds take over. And we can at least pre-plan our weekend, if not pre-shop. But now it's now that they opened up for everybody, it's just madness 24/7 for 5 days, and it's just too much. And
Yeah,
I
and then
know
there's things like
personally, it hurts because my body, I'm old and I have physical problems. I can't walk on that floor for that long anymore. I
Yeah.
can't even be around that many people anymore. I gain no enjoyment out of it at all. So I just sit back. I watch TikTok and I I watch everybody else going to the panels and all the halls. And I remember all the years of sweating or sitting on the uncomfortable chairs or finding a safe bathroom or doing the potty run from what was the Italian restaurant we ran for? The Old Spaghetti Factory.
Old Spaghetti Factory.
Remember you, me, Peter, and all, we were all running.
Well, don't include me in that because I
You
have
were
an
there. You were involved in that.
No, no,
So
no. I ate there with y'all, but my stomach is iron and nothing affects me.
we had to run down the gas lamp district because we had to go to the bathroom so bad after the Spaghetti Factory, and there was no open bathrooms to us. We're literally pinching a loaf and running down the gas lamp to get to the con to find a safe bathroom to relieve ourselves, and we almost didn't make it. This is the kind of adventures and stories that we can't tell anymore because we're not going down there because we're old and it's too crowded. It's just too much.
I mean, I'll go back. I'm not done with it. I'll go when I'm in the mood and when it strikes me, I'll return. But I just don't feel the need to go every year anymore. You know,
Right.
I love it. It's a good time. It's crazy. It's wild, and I've had some really good wild times at Comic Con. But you know, you better promise me a time equal to that then, or I won't
Yeah.
show up.
Yeah.
Or I gotta be able to be I gotta be able to be pimping out something that like I can show up, guns blazing.
Exactly. And if I went again, the perfect scenario for me to go, perfect scenario, like is I've got a hotel room at least within viewing distance of the convention center.
Yeah,
You know,
you need it within like
at the Omni or somewhere, in that area. B, I have a runner, somebody that's going to get all the stuff all the swag and all the stuff I buy and run it back to my hotel room for me, so I'm not going back and forth all day or having to carry all that stuff. And I have to be able to afford to eat at a sit down restaurant every single time. If I don't have all three of those factors, then it's going to be difficult for me to attend. Because again, I am old and can't be hauling toys around con floor all day
well,
or
this
running back and forth to the hotel room to drop it.
you're a toy buyer, so you got to have like a whole thing. Like I travel light, you
If
know.
if there's something there that I want, I'm going to get it. But if not, I'm just there window shopping and networking.
Yeah. Well, look, it's always there, and it's still going, and it's good that it's still going. COVID didn't kill it; it's still rocking back. It's coming back again. People are excited about it.
Now, what do you think about the news about it? Uh, they're trying to get it to move to LA again.
Well, as a denizen of LA, I'd love that. But also, San Diego's so nice. I'm going down
Yeah.
there is a pilgrimage. The
Yeah.
gas lamp's so good. I don't
That
know. I
it
feel like
being in San Diego led to like the vacation aspect of it too.
Yeah, that's
Totally.
because it was a destination con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
LA is like it's just LA,
But it was a drivable destination con,
Right.
from what
Right.
Angelinos and Inland Empire folks like we are, it was definitely drivable.
If it's in LA, man, we could just hard on the metro and head out.
I mean, I'll sure I'll be close to it, but that doesn't make it cool. I can't see the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watching cosplayers whack each other with foam swords while the ocean like crests behind them, you'll never get that in LA.
No, and the weather's so nice down there, and
Yeah.
LA in July and August. Ugh, no thanks.
No.
No. I mean the smell alone.
Hey.
Hey, what? You're gonna tell me there's no smell?
I don't smell it.
Because you're used to it.
Yeah,
All right,
LA
well,
terrible.
let's move on to what we came to review. Also, let's take note that three hardcore geeks that are here at the show have yet to see Deadpool Wolverine yet. It did come out today. I'm going after this recording. As of right now, I don't have a popcorn holder in my hand, and I'm still using my Harkins cup. So,
What does the Deadpool popcorn holder look like? And don't say it's his butt.
there are a few. Okay. There's one that's Wolverine with his mouth wide open, like,
Are you fucking? Excuse me. Sorry. Are you kidding me?
no, I am not fucking kidding you. There's another one that's just their heads, where you just pop open the heads and put popcorn in. There's another one that's baby Deadpool on a couch, like yay, and he's holding up a remote control in one hand and like a drink in the other, and there's a straw that comes out and it holds both the drink and popcorn in it. And then there's the zombie
Jeez.
Deadpool head popcorn holder, and then I think there's a
What?
Deadpool holder, and then
Yeah.
there's just regular cups and popcorn holders, just regular.
Please tell me you're messing with us.
I'm not. There's a lot out there, and you have to go to like all the different theaters to get the different types.
All right, that's wild. Even in my imagination, those look crazy, and I can only imagine in real life they look worse. All right,
I
well, good for them.
I don't know which one I want. I know I want the Alien Resolution. Is it what's the new Alien movie coming out?
Romulus.
Yeah, I want the new Alien Romulus popcorn holder because that looks awesome. Have you guys seen it?
No.
I haven't seen any popcorn holder since Dune. So
You have not. That means you didn't watch the last episode of the PanelCast. I am disappointed in both of you. Shame in not watching your own product. It's the alien. It's a xenomorph head, a full-length skull, and when the top pops open, the popcorn goes inside.
You got to have the split egg, so you can reach into the split egg to get your stuff out. Like
Yeah, it's the egg would be more practical for sure.
I agree, but they did that for another movie.
oh, that's right, with Dune. Yeah.
Yeah, and it
Same. Okay, so yeah, I didn't realize that this was a whole thing now, and that Deadpool had driven it into the dirt.
No, the Deadpool's butt is the new Xbox controllers. The controller, so you get the controller, and then on the bottom is both Deadpool's butt on one, and the other one is Wolverine's butt, and then you can take out Wolverine's butt and put in the claws. Clicks on it, has like the 3 Wolverine claws that come out here, so you can play and stab people at the same time.
Nice.
I don't really know how to feel about this. Like I feel kind of cool, but then like I'm also kind of like, how did it get to this?
How did we come to this?
We did it to ourselves.
Clearly.
Because geek culture, man, we did it to ourselves. We made everything a collectible. We had to have everything, So like,
yeah. Okay, so yeah, we're not seeing Deadpool. Well, you'll see Deadpool after this posts.
Right.
I'll see Deadpool soon.
My wife wants to know how many popcorn holders do I need, and we have a
personal question.
Richard Duran is here on chat on YouTube, and
how many can I line up in a row, and how long do I have alone?
Richard states that he misses the tilted kilt, and I agree. I miss the tilted kilt down there as well.
In San Diego, yeah, that was fun. Yeah, and the strip club, is the strip club still there? And we mean the New York strip club for the.
Yes, it is still there.
Yeah, great steak place.
That place has the best mac and cheese.
It is great. That's a good stop. Good stop in the gas lamp.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on with everything else we're talking about here. First, I'm going to show Joey real quick this popcorn holder.
Oh my God. You have it attached to you right now this whole time?
No, I have a photo.
It's really hard to see.
Yeah, you can't see the reflection.
No,
my imagination will do. It's horrific enough.
Yeah, you can't really see it.
I'll look it up afterward, but my imagination makes it pretty terrible.
Well, your imagination is pretty terrible, Joey. That's why.
I know.
That's why you're a comic book writer.
I don't need real life bullshit.
Ooh, look at these. Oh, I forgot about that one.
Hey, focus here.
Wolverine is in a cab, or Deadpool's in a cab, driving the cab, and the cab is a popcorn holder.
Jesus Christ.
All right, moving on. This week saw the ending of The Acolyte. Well, actually, it was last week that saw the ending of The Acolyte. The ending came as a surprise to a lot. Um, what did you guys think? Did you guys see it, and what was your thoughts?
You want to go, Joey, or
Yeah, you right, Justin.
um? So it definitely got better towards the end. Um, episode 5 was good, and the best way I can describe it is it had a lot of really, really good ideas that I was really interested in, and it was coupled with some really confounding writing choices and some really weird character turns that I didn't fully understand. And but overall, it left me wanting to see a second season. I'm just hoping they can tighten up the writing and tighten up the characters because it like Soul and
Remember, we're allowed to give away spoilers, so feel
yeah, Soul and May both, like, May was flip flopping so much between I'm just going to join the Jedi and oh I'm still fighting the Jedi, and then when they were showing the final, like, the flashback episode, which I guess was episode 7, and like how quickly Soul just became obsessed with getting Osha, like really obsessed, and it was really weird, and there was no precedence for it, so that was all really weird. And then, like I said, May flip-flopping, and a big problem I had with the whole series was um the ability of Jedi, and yeah, mostly I guess just the Jedi, but to be able to like sense stuff, because sometimes they could sense when people are around, and then like sometimes May's standing right next to Soul and he had no idea. And for a long time I thought, oh, he just is pretending it's, Osha. He really knows, but then he didn't.
right.
And so I don't know. I liked the Stranger. I thought he was really cool. I think he's a cool villain. Um,
That's Manny Jacinto's character.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked him. I liked the way Osha ended up, kind of turning to the dark side. That was cool. I fucking hated the Yoda thing. That was so dumb. That was like, please like us, please. It was really, really desperate, But that being said,
And
I'll
Yoda
watch a
wouldn't
second
approve-
season. What's that?
Yoda wouldn't have approved of any of the Jedi operations that we saw in this
So
series.
ridiculous, dude. Like,
Sorry,
yeah.
you go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
I liked that the Stranger, and I don't remember the head of the Jedi Council. I don't remember her name. But I liked that they had a past, so I thought that was cool. But yeah, there's just some weird character stuff that I just didn't get. I thought through the whole series, the fight scenes were great. I think every fight scene was really, when the witches had taken over the Wookiee and he was fighting the other Jedi, that was really, really cool.
That was great.
Yeah, I thought and then the final fight scenes with the Stranger and Soul and all that, I thought were really, really good. I thought all the fight scenes were great. I thought all the fight scenes were really inventive and different. We had never seen fight scenes like that before in Star Wars, so I mean, I give them total props for that. And like I said, there was a lot of really cool ideas, and then some really weird like character choices.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like all the fight scenes were great except for the fight scene between Soul and the girl's mother when he reacts to an acorn dropping nearby and somehow
Right.
her for no good reason, even though he's a Jedi master. Like, anyway, that was all.
Yeah, that was really
Honestly,
weird.
that's
Another weird character thing. Like he just murdered this
And that's the thing that, like, there were a lot of good ideas. There was a lot of bad follow through or no follow through at all.
Yeah.
And I felt like the Jedi come across as bumbling idiots, especially what's his name? We were just talking about him, the main character.
May.
No.
Oh.
The main Jedi.
I know. It's tripping me out.
No, the one who kills their mother. What's his name?
Soul.
Soul comes off as almost a Three Stooges level Jedi through most of like the first 3/4.
Yeah.
He can't get anything right. And then
if Soul wasn't in the show, it wouldn't be a show. It's all his fault. Like
right. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
He Inspector Clouseau'd his way through the entire freaking season.
He really did Pink Panther his way through the whole thing because he was just sort of tumbling along and he never comes across as competent, but neither do any of the other Jedi.
Yeah.
No.
Dude, the one Padme guy, not Padme, the apprentice guy.
Yeah, the one who gives Osha a hard time through the first 3 episodes or so, and then he dies unceremoniously, like the Padawan does. They're like, oh, well, you're supposed to care about these characters. Wow. No, I didn't. I thought that they were they were terribly written.
He was a jerk. The one Padawan, I thought she was cool.
They all felt one note, and everyone felt one note.
Well, see, if that other guy wouldn't have been in there would have been more room for her to like do stuff, I guess. Because he really served no purpose.
No purpose
at all.
None of them served a purpose.
Yeah.
The show, okay, my opinion of the show is yes, you're right. The fight scenes, fantastic.
Right.
I loved all the fight scenes and the stranger, I thought he was awesome. I thought the character was awesome. I didn't even mind the mask after a while.
Right.
Especially when
appreciate that mask.
It's the most biggest ridiculous mask in the world, but once you get the why it's like that, that's a sensory deprivation mask and it forces you to use the Force to react to everything. Okay, I got it. I understand. It ain't got to be pretty. It's just got to be functional.
And I'll buy it, even though he wears her while he's walking around.
Right. I get it. That's cool.
I'll buy it. It's cool.
The fight scenes were phenomenal, but geez, man. So you're telling me the entire thing that they're all afraid of is wandless magic? That's what they're afraid of?
Yeah.
I can Force choke you? That's their fear? I can do the Force stuff without using my hands?
Right.
What? And how is Darth Plagueis showing up at the last second?
In a cave, and he's all
looking like Gollum, like my precious lightsaber. Oh, like I don't understand.
Well, he and Yoda, they basically get the same treatment. They're both like, you see them, like, who is it?
Yeah. Right.
And
if they would have turned Yoda around, he would have been like the ugly Yoda.
Yeah,
episode 2.
I didn't even care,
I know when I saw the doors like that and it started panning back, I was like, please don't be Yoda. Please don't be. Oh, right? It's Yoda.
So I was like, and the fact that they left, at the end when you see the two of them, May and Stranger. Is it May at the end or is it?
It's Osha.
It's Osha.
I don't even remember anymore. Like every time I hear her name, all I hear is the OSHA violations song.
Yeah. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But at the end, when they're sitting there and you see their silhouette and then the ends, they were supposed to kiss. And they cut that out. And
how do you know that?
Because it's in all the news sites.
That's another thing is like, why couldn't both the girls go? He's not officially a Sith, so he's not doing the.
But that okay. So here's the thing, Justin. He wasn't really a Sith. He was I just want to be left alone to do my thing kind of guy. Like, I'm not here to be evil. I'm not here to destroy the universe. I just want to do my thing. And you know what? I agree with him, but that's not a Sith Lord. And
Right.
That's
So then why
Yoda.
should he only take one of the girls? He's like,
that's not evil. How dare you call that evil? Did you call that evil? That's
He's
just
Yoda. That's what Yoda did.
that's what I'm saying. It didn't make any sense to me. Like,
yeah.
anyway.
And is it
Anyway.
me, or did their lightsabers seem weird?
Okay, I don't know about that, but I want to say, like, haven't we been? And I'm going to nerd out, and this, and you can call, nerd. But are we under the impression that the Kyberian or the crystals are the what determine the color of a lightsaber, and you build your lightsaber with that
Yes.
crystal in order to like state your thing, and
Yeah, it's supposed to, like, you're supposed to attract to it, like both of your
Yeah,
qualities.
the crystals call to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll change its hue. Get out of here with that.
Yeah.
It just felt like the lightsabers themselves seemed thicker, like they were holding on to like flashlights, and then
Yeah.
You know,
the blades themselves look like tubes.
there was a lot more stabby going on with lightsabers this time, which I do appreciate, but they're like a lot more stabby than you normally see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was just a bunch, and then there was a whole bunch of little stuff like, one set of characters gets to the temple and they're like, oh, we can't use the doors, we have to climb. And then the very next set of people get to the doors and they hotwire and get the doors open. And then the next set is climbing, and it's just like,
And Stranger doesn't even climb; he just appears inside.
and there was stuff like, there was little stuff like that through all 8 episodes, little inconsistencies, and it's like no one was proofreading the script, no one was like
Did anyone watch the show before they put it out?
And they thought they were way more clever. They thought they had some kind of like murder mystery noir in Star Wars.
Right.
But it didn't really turn out that way. It wasn't nearly as clever as they thought it. They thought that they
Right.
were.
And there was no explanation as to why, like, all the witches died. Did they just die because you broke their concentration?
Also, okay, so Soul accidentally stabbed the mother, but May killed the rest of them with fire, and she takes no responsibility with her sister, and her sister gives her.
How did she kill them with fire? She set one thing on fire, and none of those witches know to run out the fucking place.
They made the mistake of making their home out of flammable stone.
I know they live in a mountain. It's not like even like if you watch Game of Thrones, at least castles, all the stones are packed onto timber. You know what I mean? So a castle can't catch on fire and collapse because it's got wood beams holding it up. That was a mountain, and then metal parts inside the mountain.
You were in the Matterhorn. How the hell did you burn the Matterhorn down?
A little Molotov cocktail, and suddenly everyone's dead. Like,
yeah, it was.
But like, even if you take that to be true, she set that fire that killed all of those witches. Not Soul, not the Jedi. She did that, and her sister completely gives her a pass on that because Soul accidentally killed her mother. And you're like, and it just felt so contrived. They're like just trying to force it into this story mold. You're like, it's just not fitting.
It was just really like lazy writing. They had all like these key points they wanted to hit, and then there's like yada 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 in between. Yada yada yada. They have to climb. Yada yada yada. The fire. Yada yada yada.
Absolutely nothing. Like, oh, it's a what do they call that? The weird force thing that they it's
the virgins.
The virgins. No follow through.
Yeah.
And so somehow the virgins has been split from one people to two, but they're the same. And there's no.
And I thought the whole point was like they were going to come together at the end, like May and Osha were like going to turn to smoke and become one again.
Yeah. There was
that's what they were the whole time. They're like, we are one, but split as two. And I was like, so what?
Wonder Twin powers activate.
And then they did nothing with it.
It was just so much J.J. Abrams mystery box bullshit. Like, we're just going to throw a bunch of stuff, but we're not going to wrap up or tell you about any. Hope you tune in next season. No, we're not going to explain it then either.
And they made it so like end of the season spoiler heavy. Like look at all the stuff you could get if we come back for season 2.
Hope we get
Eh,
renewed.
you want us back?
Yeah.
And you know, like
Like,
that thing is like I am mildly curious because I like Manny Jacinto, and I like oh, so now she's the acolyte. Oh, there's a new thing, but I just don't feel like there's enough there to propel anything good.
and like, I'm like, is it going to be better? I mean,
It better not be
is it
the
going to be
same.
the same like level of writing? Because
Do
I
I
don't
want
want
to
to
see a
see that
shitty?
again.
Do I want to see a
Mediocre.
shitty Yoda?
Yeah.
Do-
Yeah,
do-
it was extremely mediocre. It's probably
Yeah.
the most mediocre thing I've seen. Because before this, probably my least favorite was the Book of Boba Fett, and this is less than that.
Yeah. I
less
mean,
than that.
it's just so much failed potential.
Yeah,
You know? And that's the sad part.
yeah.
Just a
I
lot
don't.
of, and what's sad is a lot of it is failed potential within the cast. Like they could have done so much with Carrie Ann Moss, uh, Daphne Keene, all these other actors that they had in there that had potential to be better than what they were, but instead we're just flash in the pans like cameos. You
Yeah,
know, no better than a cameo. Oh, I got a Star Wars star now. I've been in the movie show.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
Yeah, we
Oh,
all.
look, we showed a fucking Wookiee Jedi for like 15 minutes in 3 episodes.
Oh my
And,
god!
and
Hold on.
they
Hold
got
on.
killed off screen.
There was a Wookiee Jedi, and it was mediocre. You're like, how did you drop the ball on a Wookiee Jedi?
And the Wookiee Deadeye died off screen.
Just so much mediocrity.
Yeah.
All right, well, moving on. Let's talk about something that Justin can't talk about. We saw in a violent nature.
I did.
Joey, why don't you take us away on this one?
Do you want me to explain what a violent nature is?
Please tell us.
And we're going to talk about this is word spoiler territory because it's been weeks, right?
Right.
Yeah, I know all about it. Go for it.
Okay. So, In a Violent Nature is a slasher film by Focus Films, I believe. No, by Neon. Sorry, get that right. And
Shudder.
And it and Shutter too. Yeah, and it had been promoted to me as the art house slasher film, and I was very curious about this because A, I like art house films, and A, I like slasher films. These are both two things I love, and I was like, how can these be married? And yeah, I mean, I would say that is kind of what they've created. They created a film that is so you follow the killer. The film is mostly from the killer's perspective, not a POV. Mostly from behind him, in very long. This film is filled with very long shots, either tracking shots, POV shots, just like voyeuristic looking through the window shots. Like it's just, like it goes long, and you spend a lot of time behind the killer watching him do his thing, while an almost cliche storyline of campers happens in front of him. Like the movie opens with them triggering him by screwing with his, the locket at his grave. I love the intro. We'll come back to that in a second. I just want to put a footnote in that. And then it sort of follows it's very cliche kind of slasher film beats, but you get it from a different perspective and you get it at a different pace. There's no soundtrack. It's very brutal. It forces you to kind of be in that moment with him a little bit. Now, that might sound great, but it was only pretty good. See, we'll talk about this in a second. I thought it was pretty good in its own way.
We fighting on this one.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. That's good enough intro, right? Like I feel like that's enough.
Yeah, basically, a being gets risen, a curse gets broken, and a being rises from the grave and chases after his locket that he wants to get back, his property.
And
The cursed item is stolen. Huh?
And he'll kill anyone that gets in his way.
Right. He'll kill anybody he thinks has it.
Yeah.
This movie was the Lord of the Rings in real time.
It was
very
very
long.
Did you feel like you were
my legs were tired after watching this movie. I felt like I was walking. I could watch this movie while on a treadmill and feel like I'm on a fucking choose your own adventure type thing going. Like that's what this movie was.
Hey, look, we might be honest, and we should come up with an app for treadmills where you're the killer and you see campers running away from you, and you're just like, coming
Right,
at
exactly. That's what it should be. Like you're this slow trudging killer walking, take it. I mean, like I'm not messing with you, Justin. It was 10-minute intervals of him
No,
just
I listened to a pretty detailed podcast about it,
it,
and followed up with an interview from the director and stuff. So I know like all about it.
and
And Joey, when you say it was cliche, it was meant to be.
I know.
It
Oh,
was,
no,
it was like it was like
obvious.
purposely cliche. Yeah.
It
was
was
very
obvious that you could tell when they were cued to talk, when they were cued to walk away, when like they were cued to notice the killer, like everything. You can tell the actors where their marker points were, where they were supposed to look, and what their lines were supposed to be when they hit. You could
yes.
tell every single one of them because they hit them with purposeful determination and
Okay,
delivery.
but and I think that's what Justice Alright, and I think that's a positive. See, to me, the thing is like this was made with a love of the genre. You can tell
Right.
that this dude loved the genre, and he knows the genre very well. Him and his writer, or if he was a writer, I don't know all the details, but like they knew the genre very well. They knew it so well that like the genre is on autopilot. Like it's an autopilot from from the camper's perspective. This film is on autopilot, and as a longtime slasher, I got that very early on. You're like, yep, this is they're going to hit their beats, and they're just going to do this, and they're going to do this, and they're this, and the only original thing is that you see it from the other side of this
Right.
thing. And I liked that because I am, as a lover of the genre, I do appreciate that they got it. There's so many like like it like just they hit a lot of like what you needed to hit, the important stuff, but you can see that they were trying to work around the margins. And I'm not saying that it worked completely, and I'm not saying it was completely successful, but you can see them trying to work in the margins of like, here's a slasher film, and it's a vehicle, and it's driving forward, and it's going to hit all these moments, and I'm going to try and come at it from different perspectives, different timing, different things. I don't know. I appreciated the effort more than the end result.
Right.
I I I understood and got everything they were trying to do, and I appreciate the perspective and everything that they were trying to force on me. However, this is one of those movies where, like, if the three of us went and saw it together, I would have appreciated it more than sitting in my office stoned late night, bored, deciding to watch this movie because I
Yeah.
wanted to review it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I had gone with other like-minded individuals and we got to discuss it and have fun with it, that would have changed my point of view
This
completely.
movie begs to be talked about. Like
Yes.
that's an interesting thing about it. And I also want to ask you something because I saw it in the theater by myself, and it was one thing. But it has that 4:3 aspect ratio, and when you're sitting in the dark, it makes you feel like a child watching something transgressive on Cinemax at like 1 a.m. And I
Right.
didn't. When you saw it at home, did you get that feeling from that too? In
Well,
that.
I felt like we were supposed to be watching it from the viewpoint of a cell phone.
You think so?
Like we were sitting there watching, like
But
somebody was filming it with their cell phone,
four
and
by
we were
three
watching
is
it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying
yeah.
that's what it felt
I'm just
like.
saying, but 4:3 classically is like our old school TVs. When we grew
Right.
up.
But
Our,
it helped make it feel more enclosed. Like when there was the wide shot, there was a few wide shots out there which shows like
it
the
plays
world
with
and everything.
yeah.
And oh, let me tell you something. The most annoying part about this movie was the Where's Waldo aspect of the fucking movie. There are times when you're looking at the movie and you're looking at the screen, you're like, what am I supposed to be looking at? Where am I supposed to be looking? When
Where
he goes, okay, when he takes the hatchet and sticks it in the tree stump, and goes and walks through the water. In my head, I'm like, fuck, we're gonna have to watch him walk back through all this shit to get that axe, aren't we? Sure enough, 20 minutes later, he's walking back through the same shit he just walked through to go and get the axe he had left behind 20 minutes ago.
It's a Chekhov's axe. He's gonna come back for it. Come on.
And we have to watch the 20-minute trek it takes for him to get to that fucking axe.
Like
Through the water, under the lake, over the lake.
I don't think it's a great film, and I don't think that they succeeded at everything they tried, but they tried a lot. And
they tried everything. The only thing they didn't try was that he came from space.
And there were some great kills from a slash perspective. There were some things like you're like, oh,
there were some gnarly deaths in that movie.
And I don't want to get into this conversation too much, but I also think that this is part of a wave of more gnarlier, grotesque films that are coming out now, like Terrifier and stuff. Like we're moving into a new phase, like horror always does, as a reflection of what's going on around it. And this film is part of that new phase of like, this film was gnarly. There's some gnarly gore going on in this thing, and I loved every minute of it. And like gore comes in waves in response to what's going on around it, and I find it interesting that I don't know. It was an interesting film. It wasn't great, but it was interesting.
I like that the artsy hand kill that they showed. They show like this hand going in to kill somebody, and then a couple seconds later, they still see the hand moving forward, but it's just covered in blood now.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool.
They don't tell you what he did with the hand, but he just went through some shit right there.
And because you've seen him do some really, really messed up things, there's only actually about 2 or 3.
Does it look like he has the Red Hulk's hand with black nails? Yes.
Yeah. There's only about 2 or 3 really gnarly kills in this film, and the rest are kind of even done off camera or implied or what have you. And that's it. Again, this film was filled with interesting choices. They didn't always work, but man, I love that they tried something unique. I don't know. It's worth watching.
So this was an original production from Shudder and Neon, and it's on Shudder now, so you can watch it whenever. But it was one of the few films from Shudder where they released it into a theatrical release. It had a limited release, but it still had a theatrical release, and so that's how good they thought, or how much faith they had behind it. Whether or not it's warranted faith or not, that it seems to be unbalanced here between Joey and my opinions. A third opinion would have been nice, Justin, but
when I saw the theater, that theater was packed, and I was happy. That made me happy. I was like, look, even if this film isn't perfect, and it's not, it's very flawed, but people came out to see it, and I love that.
Right, and like I said, to me, I think it's a situational movie. If we had all gone together, I know I would have loved it. But
we would have talked about it for an hour afterwards.
We would have had fun in the movie. We would have had some fun in the movie talking shit, and then we would have enjoyed it afterwards talking shit.
I wanted to talk about it with anyone I could as soon as I saw it, right, and not because it was great, just because like, damn, this movie needs to be talked about a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there you have it, folks. Wishy-washy.
or pretty good, or at least like. You should watch it just because.
It's what we say about everything we review, man. Go watch it, see for yourself.
Yeah.
And drop us a comment. Let us know what you think, opposing or agreeing on that situation. Because, we always want opinions.
I want to talk about this film. So if you want to talk about this film,
I'm down to conversate about this film as well. So please let us know. Justin hates us, so he doesn't want to talk about anything with us. That's why he didn't watch the movie. But what did you watch this week, Justin?
I'm keeping up with House of the Dragon, and I finished The Boys.
The Boys.
The Boys.
Joey, did you watch The Boys?
No, I'm going to sit this one out. This will be my sit out.
Okay, so this is your sit out. Let's talk about The Boys. This is going to be a hard discussion to have with this season. I was afraid to tackle this season of The Boys because of the content that was happening in there, and the fact that literally this last episode mirrored the insurrection on January 6th that happened in this country 4 years ago. and it copied it in the final episode. And a lot of what they showed on this season of The Boys comes directly from the headlines that we're dealing with today,
Yeah.
in the political headlines today. So I really didn't want to tackle it because I didn't want to have a political show. And so, but it seems like we can't avoid it because it is.
Well, if you're going to talk about The Boys, yeah, you can't avoid it because it's very
Yeah,
much a social
because The
commentary.
Boys is geek culture, and it is one of the comic books like I totally enjoyed as a kid, and I did enjoy this season, as controversial as it may be. So, Justin, why don't you go ahead and describe what the season was like?
Okay. Well, I mean, it was, and this has been my issue with the Boys recently. Is it's kind of the same thing. It's them trying to figure out a way to stop Homelander, and them trying to figure out a way to um, stop and or swing the vice president their way. They seem to be going back and forth on whether they want to, take her out or try and make her, help them get Homelander. Um, but so the Boys have always been very political, and Homelander has always been a metaphor for certain aspects of America's political leanings. They give up all subtlety in this season. They were just like, nope, this is this. I mean, and it kind of the one thing about it that worked is because the extremes in our political culture this year have given up all subtlety.
Right.
There people have been like, no, I don't care. I want a dictator. I don't care. He could shoot people on the White House lawn and I'm okay with it. So I think people are like, oh, they're not even being subtle anymore. It's like, no, they're doing what they always did and kind of mirroring society. And society has given up being subtle.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things like I was afraid to tackle because I don't.
Yes. And they aren't. They are definitely. I mean, obviously, they are definitely very left leaning, but they are not exclusively, poking fun at the right. They poke a lot of fun at the left as well. So people that are saying, oh, they're just all hardcore, left, they're not. They're making fun of Disney. They're making fun of different leftist
political system.
They're making fun of. Yeah, you're right. The entire political system and how segregated it is.
How it's based off of it's a media based.
Right. They are. Yeah, I mean, yeah, their condemnation of the media is right on. I mean, 100%. It's like the only difference is on the Boys they're wearing costumes. That's
right.
But it was a good season. I mean, an episode to episode, it's fun. The Boys is fun. It's gross. It's every season tries to outgross the last one, and that's fine. That's what the comic did. That's what the show does. That's cool. I need them to wrap it up because like this season especially, they never really had a plan until the end. Like they never until they came up with that virus, which was like 3 episodes before the ending. They never really had a plan of what they were going to. They were just kind of stumbling forward and stuff like that. And I heard, I don't know how accurate this is. I heard that next season's the last season, which they really need to do. They really need to, like, if it didn't end, they need to finish the Homelander storyline and move on to something else.
No, next season's the last season.
Okay, then that's great. They really need to do that.
They've already said there will be spinoffs, but like this storyline.
Well, Gen V was canceled.
Yeah, but there will be other spinoffs. I mean, just recently.
I kind of liked Gen V, and I like that we saw some of the characters show up in the season of The Boys. But
no, and like I said, episode to episode, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the season. It was fun. As a season, I was hoping last season they would have ended. Like I was hoping like Soldier Boy and Homelander meet and there'd be a big old fight and somehow they'd off each other or something. And my big fear was because it's Kripke who did Supernatural, is this going to go on for like 17 seasons? Because
Right.
Supernatural did when it should have ended on 4. Season 4 had a great spot to end, and it would have been like a beautiful show with a great ending. But no, like I said, the season was good. I'm happy it's going to end next season, and I'm sure next season is going to be great because they're actually going to end it and pull out all the stops and do what they need to do. And I thought this season ended cool on a real downer note.
Now, sorry, but this is
Yeah.
the end of the season, or this is the end of the first half of the season? I don't know.
No, this is the end of this season.
This is the end of the season.
Okay.
So this is the end of season 4. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, episode of this, I had fun. I liked the new characters. I liked what's going on with Butcher with his like mutation and all that stuff. And I thought, and they did a lot of cool stuff. I thought the whole thing with the shape changer taking Starlight's place and living with Huey for like a week was really cool. And that was some cool like mental shit to do to Huey, because Huey, I mean, he got fucked up this season, poor guy. But yeah, all that shit with his dad, that was crazy. And I thought it was a really cool season. But like I said, it was kind of meandering as far as like the overall plot. Episode to episode, I was having fun, but it kind of didn't, for a long time, it didn't really know where it wanted to go, it felt like.
It felt like, for me, this season was okay. I think I might be burnt out on them trying to shock us.
Yeah.
Because that's what it feels like, is every episode they're trying to shock us.
Yeah.
Sure. And trying to push us into an uncomfortable place.
That's why
granted is what the book did when we first read it.
Right.
But
you don't be shocked so much.
Right.
And now after 4 or 5 seasons, it's like, okay, dude, we get it. Like, it's shocking, but can you not shock to shock? Can you just put it as
that's exactly it. They see, now they're in this part where because that show is so shocked. That's a tongue twister there. Because that show is so shocking that they feel the need to like up the ante every season. And like if they would have ended like last season with season 3, then it would have been great, because it's like, oh my God, that show was crazy. It just got crazier and had an awesome ending. And now I'm ready for a spinoff, but
right.
So I am glad they're going to wrap it up, but I think it might be a season or 2 longer than it should have
been. And I'm tired of the Butcher's drama. Like, he goes back and forth every day, and him and his hallucinations. It was just. And then they tried to switch up the actors on us. For his son.
Oh.
I didn't even notice. Honestly, I didn't even notice. So.
And then they couldn't keep a stable storyline with him. Like,
yeah. Yeah, he's kind of wishy-washy back and forth. The thing about the hallucinations, I did like the twist with his old partner being a hallucination.
Harry Dean Morgan.
Morgan. Because I didn't see that coming. The whole time I thought he was actually there, and I was like, oh shit, that was like some Fight Club level like twist. I did not see that coming at all. I was like, oh, that was very. I knew. Well, we all knew the wife was a hallucination because he's dead. Right. So that was like cool. And then but then when Harry Dean Morgan looked at the hallucination of the wife, he's like, "Would you shut the fuck up?" I was like, "What the fuck?" And then he's like, "Oh shit, he's been dead for like 4 years." It's like, that's awesome. That was really good.
That's not his name. What's his real name? What's his name? The father from
Supernatural, yeah.
Supernatural.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah, that's right.
Harry Dean Morgan?
Yeah, or it's close enough.
What was the other show he was in? The big show he was in?
Walking Dead.
Oh, Walking Dead.
Yeah, because he was Negan.
Yeah.
He was the comedian in The Watchmen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
He's got some crazy geek cred.
He's got some good geek
Jeffrey
cred.
Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Okay.
Yeah, no, that guy's got some serious geek street cred.
Yeah, no, but that part with him being a hallucination, that I thought that was rad because that totally got me.
The vampire sheep, that was my favorite thing.
Yeah.
They had sheep flying around this farm, and they were cannibals or vampires. And
Well, they all got infected with V, so they're
Yeah, so
all
they would just
insane
fly and
and
kill
like flying
everybody and
around
just-
and hungry.
Yeah.
Then there was the Maddox, the multiple man.
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Imagine him doing a human centipede on himself,
Yeah.
See,
and
they're just
that's what they showed in one of the episodes.
they're just such edgelords sometimes. Like that
I
sounds
know.
funny to me as a punchline, as
Yeah.
as a throwaway joke, not as a real joke.
It's in the show.
Oh, I know it. I bet it is.
And it was a total like throwaway joke. It's like they just opened the door and he was in there doing that, and they're like, "Oh God."
Yeah.
And then they
But I
had a
didn't
big
even
old.
see it. I didn't
Huh?
look. The whole rubbing the walls of the urethra scene from season 3 was great because that was heroism. I thought that
Right.
was awesome, and the fact that he sneezed and exploded and grew and blew up his penis, that was a great sight gag. That was awesome. I didn't need to see this though. I
Yeah.
didn't need to see a guy human centipede himself.
It's because they have to up themselves.
Yeah.
I understand.
Mm,
I'm just
first-
saying, like,
I know.
even I have limits. And I don't usually have limits.
Do you?
Mhm. Yeah, sometimes.
I am disappointed with the swinging things where there's so much penis now, and so little female nudity now. It's like they went the complete opposite. Can we have a balance? I'm all for a balance.
Let's
Oh my God, the
Swing right
Spiner
the
guy.
other way.
The Spiner guy.
give it about 5 or 10 years, and it'll just be equality.
That's
Equally.
what I'm saying. I just want equality. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
There'll just be no clothes. We'll just go back to Garden of Eden style.
Right. Anyway, it was, like I said, it wasn't like the strongest season, but it was The Boys. Everybody keeps asking me how it was. I was like, it was The Boys.
Yeah.
If you like the Boys, you'll probably have fun. But like I said, I'm wishing it would have ended last season, because then there'd be 3 strong seasons. You wouldn't be tired of being grossed out. They wouldn't keep having to outdo themselves. So hopefully, since they know they're wrapping it up, they'll have to be like more story, and
You can always come back.
right.
Well, how many Garth Ennis books are they going to adapt?
All of them.
We
We get Hitman? No, I mean not yet.
No.
That was a great series.
We got Preacher, and we got this. What else is there? We're gonna get.
Well, you're gonna get a lot of war stuff. Like I said, Hitman, a lot of war stuff.
Battlefields is great. If they want to do Battlefields, that's great. I love that series. There was none of this over the top, gross you out stuff in there. It was just depressing, real life war stories, like the Night Witches. That was fantastic.
I've read interviews, and he grew up reading that stuff. He took that very seriously. That was a genre that was very that was very precious to him, and he wasn't gonna be weird all over it, edgelord all over it like he usually does.
Right. Anyway, so that's 3. Were we gonna talk about anything else?
Twisters, I guess.
Well, you guys were going to talk about Crisis if Richard came in, but
No.
Well, Richard didn't show up, so unfortunately, guys, we're not going to have time to review Crisis. I will say this though.
We could do a 2-minute Twister.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to talk about Crisis real quick. In that, Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3. I watched it. The final performance of Kevin Conroy as Batman. I cried during that scene, and because he went out the way that it was worded and everything. Check my Facebook. I made a post about it. It was fantastic.
Did you cry because you knew it was his last performance, or did you cry because of the performance?
Both.
All right.
Both. Once you realize what it is and how appropriate it is and fitting for him, that's when you're like, fuck, dude, damn,
Yeah.
And it's awesome. And yes, it changed the comic a lot, and it changed a lot of the storylines. A lot, everything about it was different. But I think that they did what the Flash tried to do and failed to do, and that was uh, visit multiple Earths and multiple storylines and give you everything you wanted to see. Even from the Green Lantern animated series, you saw characters show up from there, and them wrapping things up in the way that you would wanted it to see in the Flash movie, but not as horrible as they did it in that aspect,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And in that aspect, launching a new universe that they're going to do, a new DC EU or animated universe, um, they did the job with this, and I think they accomplished that mission. Um, I wish all of the parts of the show of the movies were as good as this one,
yeah.
but because of those two left such a bad taste in the mouth, this one comes out shining even
Mm,
more so than it should. This one's probably not as good as I'm hyping it up to, but because the other two to compare it to are shit,
right.
it makes this one look fucking amazing, So I have no choice but to give this two good thumbs up.
And like, give them 10 years, they're gonna have to do this again. If this follows the same pattern the comics did, they tried this and they did Crisis in the '80s. In the '90s, they had to do it again. In the 2000s, they had to do it again. Like every 10
Right.
years, they got to reboot because they have too many damn comics in their
There'll be
continuity.
another crisis coming out.
Every 10 years, they're gonna have to do this again. So you wait, give them a few, and they'll try again. Don't worry,
Right.
you might get it right.
So if you've watched the other two, watch the third just to finish up the series, and
For the
you'll
Oh
first,
yeah, I'll watch it for sure.
and at least for the final performance of Kevin Conroy
all right,
as Batman, the animated series Batman,
all right.
for that. So let's do a quick wrap up of Twisters. You saw the first movie. Everybody saw the first movie. Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, Twister. Awesome, great, great,
Amazing.
great. Eye candy movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you don't care about the plot. You don't care about anything.
But
Pretty
I
eye
would say of
candy.
the original, the chemistry between Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton was great. The chemistry
Great.
between the characters was great.
The group of nerds that they had going around, Philip Seymour Hoffman, all those guys,
Great. So
fantastic.
then,
Loved it.
yes.
Uh,
Now,
this one, eh, um,
I agree.
it was eye candy, and I enjoyed the eye candy. I enjoyed seeing it on the big laser projection screen with the loudness and everything, stereo surround sound. For that, I thought it was fantastic. I am tired of Glenn Powell's scrunched up, like sucking on a fucking sour candy
He only
face.
has two facial expressions, and one and a half of them are smirk.
I'm like, you are you more Asian than I am? How can you see out of those eyes? Like, I was born in Korea, motherfucker. I am half Korean. Your eyes are more Asian than mine. What the hell? And
He
and
was
and
obnoxious. The
and,
writing,
and
the story.
Anthony Ramos. I'm sorry.
What's that?
Anthony Ramos needs to stick in musicals. Just stick with the musicals.
Uh, you
He was
know,
in Transformers. I didn't enjoy him in Transformers.
he
The
was
only movie I've liked him in is Nights. He
he
needs
was
to
one
stick
of
with
the least offensive things. I liked it. I had a good time. I had a good time because the twister scenes are amazing. The special effects are amazing. Like all of the action sequences, yeah, they're amazing. They really nail it. And then everything else about this film is
it.
mediocre, bad. The writing is bad. The soundtrack was painful to sit through.
Acting.
Uh, God, the chemistry, and like you said, like the first movie had like Philip Seymour Hoffman, and I had a really good backup cast. Everyone in the backup cast of this film is forgettable,
I
absolutely forgettable. And you're like,
Yeah, I can't even picture their faces.
barely because they're
Barely
caricatures.
picture their faces.
They
But
were
it's
like,
a great popcorn summer movie.
it was a great popcorn movie. I had a great time watching it. I had fun. I'm not
Take
saying,
the kids, go see it to get out of the heat.
yeah, go see it
Uh,
in the theater on a big screen and enjoy the
Enjoy the air conditioning. Get an icy. You know,
movie.
just,
Hopefully, it has a weird cyclone top that you can reach your hand in. I don't know.
just
No, it was fun. It was
Yeah,
dumb
fun.
fun.
Is it a sequel? Well, they don't tie it together, so yeah, sure.
I
Whatever.
mean, but this is like a sequel in the same way that like the Ghostbusters, and like a lot of these movies, they basically like plotted out a checklist of what the original movie, what made it great, or
Right.
no, what the fans remember about the original movie. May not even what made it great. What the fans remember, like scenes, bits, whatever. It's a checklist almost, and they've just gone down and they kind of like, yep. Are there two teams? One's the good and one's the crazy. Check. Is there the weird cross romance between them? They check. They just go down the line and they check
Is
all.
there a conglomeration trying to do
There were
bad
no
while one was
clues in
trying to
this.
do good?
Yeah, exactly. The
Are,
only
are we going to see one of their mothers? Are we going to their mother's home base?
the first movie was the aunt. This one they go to the mother. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. Exactly. They're just checking boxes.
It's
They
formulaic.
didn't even
That's
see
how
were cows flying, and I was like, were there no cows? This is Twister. Where were the cows flying? I guess we moved into an age where we don't want to see cows flying. Yeah, that's
Well, PETA.
like I said. It's CGI cruelty to bovine.
Well, plus it was COVID, so the cows probably didn't wear masks. They
Yeah,
weren't wear masks or anything.
no, the special effects were amazing. Again, they were amazing, and having it updated, that was cool. But it's
Yeah,
it was all right.
I like that they made fun of the equipment that they used in the first one. They kind of mocked it. I like a lot of ideas that we may have had to use in the first one. They used in the second one, like the drilling down of the truck.
Drill, absolutely. I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah, like that was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
That's what
knocking
you're
it
gonna
down,
do. And then they show you how that would fail in the face of because of course every tornado is a Cat 5 or whatever the cat. Like
right.
they're all, oh my god, it went from a 1 to a 5. Every single like they're all
Every single one.
what? It was fine.
There's two? Well, let's send them to the fake one, and we're gonna go catch the real one.
See, but we
At
had
the
that
last minute.
too. And she's like the storm talker. I don't know. Anyway, the writing was bad. The writing was really bad. The writing was pretty damn bad. But it didn't turn me off. I didn't go for a good writing. I went to see
right, yeah,
right, exactly. I went to go see a summer movie, and I got a summer movie.
I got some crazy tornado biz. I got what I paid for.
Exactly, which was no plot, no story, no
pretty much. That soundtrack, man. I was gritting my teeth through 3/4 of that movie. Man. All right.
Well, that wraps us up for this episode of the PanelCast. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We will be back next month. And in the meantime, check out all of our other shows. The PanelCast comes out every week, as does the side panel that pops up every 2 weeks. Where we'll be discussing stuff. Joey and Justin, you can find all their work on forbiddenpanel.com. You can find Joey's stuff on his website, which is
lab23studios.com.
And Justin's stuff, necrosapienpress.com, or forbiddenpanel.com, whatever, whatever.
All the
we're
above.
everywhere.
All the above.
We're all over the place. Yeah. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Awesome. Good night.
Night.